Hello, everybody. So, first of all, I would like to thank the organizer for the opportunity to give such a nice talk, such an interesting way, at least, to give a talk here. So today I will discuss about the Gibbs measure for the 2D discrete Gaussian free field. So it is based on joint works with Louis-Pierre Arguin in New York and Michel Pin, who is also in New York. So first of all, I will define and describe the, let's say, basic properties of the Gaussian free field. And then I will talk about the two results obtained with these guys. So the fact that the Gaussian free field exhibit one-step replica symmetry breaking. And the second one is that we have absence of temperature KO, but with an overlap distribution different from the random energy model of Derrida. So what is the Gaussian free fields? First of all, we consider, let's say, a box included in Z2, and the Gaussian free field is a Gaussian field HV indexed by V in A with covariance matrix given by the Green function. So I recall here what is the definition. So it's a function of 2 points V and V prime. You consider a simple random walk starting at site V here, and you look at the expected number of visits to V prime before exiting the set A. Okay, so we will focus on some specific set Vn. So first I introduce this square 0,1 times 0,1, and we consider the set Vn, which is the square of side length n. We also need to introduce a subset of Vn that we denote by Vn delta. So it's the set of points in Vn which are at a distance larger than delta n from the boundary. It's well known that we know that the covariance of such a field, a Gaussian field, is almost 1 over pi times the logarithm of the number of points n squared, number of points in the box. At least in what I will call the bulk, to avoid the boundary effect. And if you consider the covariance, it behaves like 1 over pi times the logarithm of the number of points in the box n squared divided by the distance between V and V prime to the power 2. That's why we talk about log correlated Gaussian field. The first results I want to mention was obtained by Bolthausen, Deutschel, and Giacomin, and they obtained the third order of the maximum. So you consider the maximum of the field in the box, you normalize it by log n squared, and the proof that it converges in probability to some constant that I denote by square root of g, which is where g is 2 over pi. Okay, let's mention that already in their paper, which is a beautiful paper, they introduced some trees to compare the Gaussian free field to a model was a hierarchical structure. Okay, these ideas were also used by Olivier Daviau, who studied the number of, let's say, I points. So here you have the first order of the maximum. You take a fraction of this, which means you pick a lambda between 0 and 1 and consider the number of points in your box Vn such that the value of the field is larger than lambda times the first order of the maximum. You'd consider the logarithm of such points, of the number of such points, and normalize it by log n squared. So this converges in probability, and it's the same behavior as for the random energy model, which is which can be considered as, in our case, by n squared IID Gaussian random variables with variance the maximum of the green function between the points v, v, when you consider the maximum for all v in your box Vn. It's just a simple exercise to deduce from the previous results that this is simple, that it exhibits, let's say, a phase transition. For this, I introduce the partition function z and beta and the free energy, which is the logarithm of the partition function normalized by 1 over log n squared. So the free energy is the same as the REM, which means that it converges to some constant depending on beta, which is given by this. And you see here there is some phase transition and some beta critical defined by square root of 2 times pi. And the convergence hold almost surely and in L1. So the first result obtained with Louis-Pierre Arguin is the following. So first we consider the Gibbs measure, and then we define the notion of overlap between 2 points U and V, which is the variance divided by the maximum of the, which is the covariance divided by the maximum of the variance. And we could see previously that this behaves approximately like that. So it is related to the distance between 2 points V and V prime, or, okay, here's some mistake or typo. It should be U and V. So what we obtain is that if we pick 2 points U and V, sample 2 points U and V independently according to the Gibbs measure, and consider the law of their overlap, taking the expectation over the field, what we obtain at the limit is a mixture between a Dirac at 0 and Dirac at 1, with weights beta c over beta and 1 minus beta c over beta. So again, this is the same limit as for the random energy model. The idea of the proof is to introduce some perturbed model and relate its free energy to the overlap distribution for the Gaussian free field. Okay, that was the first result, and now the second one. First, I want to mention some very interesting and sharp results about the GFF. So Branson, Ding, and Zaitouni prove that the maximum minus VMN, where Mn is defined like this, converges in distribution towards a non-trivial limit. So here, it's the first time we can see a difference with the REM, because for the REM, you have to recenter the maximum by this quantity, where here you have 1 over 4. So you can think at the famous 3/2 obtained by Branson for the branching point motion. Yeah. Another beautiful result was obtained by Biskup-Louider, who studied a full extremal process. And that is, you look at all the points V that are a local maximum here, because here we define a box of size R around V. You look at the position of such a local maximum. You look at its distance to the order of the maximum and at the landscape around it. And they obtain convergence in law for such, for the full extremal process as a Poisson point process with an explicit intensity. So they describe precisely this measure ZV, which is a measure on V. Here you have the atoms of the Poisson point process, and here you have the law of the decorations. So we could deduce from the results by Biskup and Loider the following results. So if beta or beta prime is smaller than beta critical, then the limit law of the overlap is zero. And if beta or beta prime is larger, if beta and beta prime are larger than, no, if beta and beta prime are larger than beta critical, then you obtain the following convergence in distribution. So again, you pick U according to the Gibbs measure at inverse temperature beta and V at inverse temperature beta prime. And this guy converges to some object, which is defined like this. And if you look at this carefully, you see that it's just the fact that you pick 2 points in the same cluster. So I will recall here that psi k are the atoms of a Poisson point process with intensity given by this, and phi k are independent decorations. Okay, so that's these results mean that there is no KO in temperature for the Gaussian field, and it can be seen as a corollary of the theorem obtained by Biskup and Loider. So now the idea is to compare this with the REM. So first you define the overlap for the REM. So it's again the covariance normalized by the variance. But since the random variable for the REM are independent, it's just the indicator function that U is equal to V. Kurkova obtained the following results. If you pick 2 points at different temperature, then the tail distribution of the overlap converges in distribution to some quantity defined by this, where the psi k are again the atoms of Poisson point process with intensity given by this. So now what we want to do is to compare these two guys. And it is well known, okay, let's just introduce some notation. I will denote by x beta k this quantity, such that I can rewrite the limit for the Gaussian free field by this, like this. And it is well known that since the psi beta k is a sequence of ID random variable independent of psi k, we have this equality law, which implies the following, which means that if you pick beta prime equal to beta, then the two quantities have the same law for the Gaussian free field and for the REM. But what happens, the question is what happens if you choose beta different from beta prime? And the answer is that you don't have the same law as the limit. Indeed, if beta and beta prime are larger than beta critical but different, then the expectation of Q beta beta prime is strictly smaller than the expectation of Q for the REM at beta and beta prime. The idea is the following, is that for the REM, the weight of a pure state depends only on its height. So a likely pure state under the Gibbs measure for the REM at inverse temperature beta will also be likely for the Gibbs measure at inverse temperature beta prime. But for the Gaussian free field, the weight of pure states depends both of the height of the local maximum and the geometry of the cluster around it. So this implies that some pure states are likely for beta close to beta critical and unlikely for large beta, or vice versa. So that's the picture we have in mind. So until beta c, these two guys are equal to 0, and after beta c, The expectation for the Gaussian free field should be strictly smaller than the expectation for the RAM, except when beta prime is equal, when beta is equal to beta prime. Sorry. Thank you for your intervention, and wish you the best during this beautiful conference.